Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's explainer lesson. I am absolutely thrilled to be your guide as we explore a truly fascinating aspect of the English language. Today, we're going to unlock the secrets of mastering English idioms. If you've ever felt like you completely understand the vocabulary, but native speakers still sound like they're speaking in some sort of secret code, well, you are exactly in the right place. So, settle in, get comfortable, and let's take this nice and slow.
Okay, let's dive into our roadmap for today. We'll kick things off by unlocking what idioms actually are, compare them to simple compounds, and then we'll learn the golden rule of fixed order. After that, we'll cover how to use them naturally in friendly conversations, give you a quick warning about outdated expressions, and finally wrap the whole thing up with some interactive practice.
Section 1, Unlocking English Idioms. What exactly are they? Well, before we start using them, we really need to understand where they fit into the English language. Now, what's really interesting here is that idioms don't just exist on their own. They actually belong to a much broader family called formulaic language. This family includes everyday greetings like happy birthday, prepositional phrases like in a hurry, and phrasal verbs like take off. We learn all of these expressions as complete, fixed units, rather than trying to build them word by word. Idioms are just a very special, highly colorful branch of this exact same family tree.
So what's the official definition? An idiom is essentially a fixed combination of words, whose meaning is often pretty difficult to guess just from looking at the individual words. Let me give you a great example from our text. Imagine I tell you, I put my foot in it the other day at Linda's house. Now, if you translate that literally, you'd probably think I physically stepped on something, right? But the non-literal, idiomatic meaning is that I accidentally said something that upset or embarrassed someone. The true meaning is completely hidden behind the words.
Section 2, Idioms versus simple compounds. It's absolutely crucial to distinguish between words that mean exactly what they say and words that paint a figurative picture. Think about simple compounds for a second. These are highly literal. A car park is exactly what it sounds like, where you park cars. A bus stop is where the bus stops. Simple, right? But idioms require you to think outside that literal box. If a rock band's hit song is a flash in the pan, it literally has nothing to do with cooking. It means it was a sudden success that only happened once and won't ever be repeated. Or, if little Jimmy is as quiet as a mouse, he hasn't physically transformed into a rodent, he's just being extremely quiet. Section 3, the golden rule, fixed order in idioms. Pay close attention here because this is the crucial point. The words and the order of those words in idioms are completely fixed. You just cannot change them. For example, to say you immediately like someone, you'd say, Tim took a shine to his teacher. That is 100% correct. But you can never say Tim gave a shine to his teacher. Why? Because native speakers rely on these exact, specific formulas to instantly process meaning. Changing even a single verb breaks that mental formula, and it immediately sounds unnatural to the listener's ear.
Let's see how this builds on another super common phrase. Look at safe and sound, which simply means arriving safely. We always say, we arrived safe and sound. You absolutely cannot flip the order and say, we arrived sound and safe. Even though the individual words mean exactly the same thing, the fixed structure of that formulaic language has been broken. Always make sure you learn the idiom in its exact rigid order.
Section 4, Idioms in friendly conversations. Now, this is the fun part. This is where you actually get to use these phrases to truly connect with people. While idioms might occasionally pop up in a formal academic essay or a dry business report, they truly shine in informal, friendly settings. You are going to sound so much more natural and fluent if you use them in everyday conversations or informal writing. We use them all the time for emphasis, to strongly agree with a friend, or just to make our personal anecdotes much more colorful and engaging. Here's a brilliant example of commenting on a situation in a really conversational way. Instead of just stating boringly, the finance minister wants to improve the economy, you could enthusiastically say, the new finance minister wants to knock the economy into shape. Do you hear the difference? It provides this strong, active, visual image of physically taking action to get something into good condition. It makes your conversational English feel rich and totally vibrant. Section 5, Avoid outdated expressions. Welcome to a gentle but very serious tutor's warning. Not all idioms are created equal. You see, languages are living, breathing things, and idioms change incredibly frequently in English. While some idioms manage to stick around for centuries, others completely disappear in the blink of an eye. If you just memorize a giant list of idioms without knowing their current modern context, well, you might end up sounding very strange to modern ears. And this really brilliantly illustrates the huge danger of learning conversational English entirely from old books. Our source text gives a perfect example of this, the idiom as stiff as a ramrod, which means sitting with a very, very straight back. Now, 50 years ago, sure, this was popular, but today, it sounds incredibly old-fashioned and honestly just odd. If you drop that phrase into a friendly chat at a local coffee shop, people might look at you a little bit funny. Always focus your learning on up-to-date expressions that are actually used by people today.
Section 6. Interactive Idiom Practice.
All right, you guys have been listening so patiently and attentively. It is time to put your brand new knowledge to the test. Let's jump into a little interactive idiom practice. I'm going to give you a scenario, and I want you to try and guess the correct conversational idiom. Ready? Here is your first scenario. Imagine you're agreeing with a friend about someone's reaction. Your friend says, "Did you notice how Lisa started listening when you said her name? How would you naturally finish this sentence?" Yes, that made her. Take a second to think of a natural, fixed expression for starting to listen carefully. Did you get it? The answer is prick her ears up. This is such a fantastic conversational idiom that paints a really vivid picture, much like a dog or a cat suddenly raising its ears when it hears a fascinating sound.
Let's try another one. You were telling a friend a story about a terrible day where one bad thing caused a whole series of other bad things to happen. You say, "It was just one disaster after another today," a sort of, what's the two-word idiom that perfectly fits here? Have a guess. The answer is domino effect. It is just a brilliant way to make a really frustrating anecdote much more interesting to whoever is listening. Just picture a long line of dominoes falling over, one by one.
Okay, final interactive challenge. Imagine you are reading a magazine horoscope, which, by the way, is a place where informal idioms are extremely common. The horoscope tells you that you are currently trying to recover from a very bad experience. It says you'll spend much of this week doing what? Think of an animal analogy here. The correct phrase is licking your wounds. Just like an animal might tend to itself after a tough fight, we use this exact fixed phrase to describe taking time to recover emotionally from a major setback. You have done a truly fantastic job today. To wrap up our explainer lesson, I want to leave you with a real-world task. Idioms are literally everywhere, especially those with strong, vivid images designed specifically to catch your eye. Over the next few days, I want you to look closely at the news headlines and the advertisements all around you. What idioms can you spot? And more importantly, can you figure out the hidden meaning behind the literal words? Keep your eyes open and keep practicing. Thanks so much for learning with me today.